juist aangekomen in Split. Goedemorgen, het is 6:30 uur. Ik zit op mijn gemak in de lobby. Alleen de video te editen. En ik realiseer mij juist dat het grootste deel van die video de tourguide is die gaat babbelen over de geschiedenis van Split en Kroatië. Als je niet geïnteresseerd bent, skip gewoon vooruit.
98, September 1898, the 19th century. Here was a Sigmund Freud, the famous shrink from Austria, from Vienna. He was a friend of the owner, so Sigmund Freud was here. You know that Sigmund Freud was a famous shrink, father of psychoanalysis. He wrote many books. One of his books was, lots of people have split personalities. Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. And he was in Split, write about split personalities. He write about us, basically. It's a local joke. But he actually was here because Sigmund Freud was a Freemason, secret society, and the owner of the house was a Freemason, so there was friends. For this reason, he was here. But do you know how Split get the name Split? Yeah? I have a photo of the bush. It's called Scottish broom. We have it here in our coast. In English we call this Scottish broom. Probably they have it in Scotland, I don't know. I never was in Scotland, but I call it in English Scottish broom. In our language we say Bernista. And first settlers here, so before Croatians, before the Roman Empire, we have Illyrian tribes living here. Illyrians was the first nation who lived here. We're talking 10th century BC. And Greeks come to trade with Illyrian tribes. And they call this bush Aspalatos. So, the first name of City Split was Aspalatos, like a name of the Greek name, Old Greek, of that bush, Scottish broom. And you know the Croatians are lazy people. If somebody asks you, where are you from? Aspalatos, the wrong name of the city. And we are super lazy. So can you shorten the name from Aspalatos to Spalato? For 200 years was, 300 years was Spalato. Then we changed from Spalato to Split, and for 200 years from Split to Split. 15th, 16th century, but then white walls on the top are Diocletian palace walls. You're going to see on the billboard how the palace looked like in 4th century when they built it. You can see the water was next to these walls. We claim this promenade in medieval times. So, who was that guy who built the palace? Diocletian. Diocletian was not even Roman. Diocletian was half Greek, half Illyrian. I tell you, first settlers here was Illyrians. We're talking 10th century BC. Croatians come here in 7th century, conquered the Romans, basically take the land, and establish. But a lot of Croatians had that Illyrian roots in themselves. They assimilate Illyrians, the First Nation. So I know I have Illyrian roots in myself and Croatian. So Croatians kind of mix Illyrian and Slavic. Illyrians, they have many tribes with different names but same language. Illyrians, we have tribe Dalmati, Yapodi, Histri, Pannoni, Ardiei, and the tribe who live here, from Dubrovnik to city Šibenik and Split is in the middle. Makarska also was Dalmati tribe of the Illyrians. This county is called Dalmatian Coast because the First Nation, Dalmati. Dalmatian Coast, Dalmati. Like the United States, they have the state Indiana because Indians. So we have 5 counties. It's called Dalmatia because Dalmati tribe. Dalmati in their language was a sheep. They have sheep, the herders of the stocks. And there was warriors. Roman come in 4th century BC. The Illyrians was here from the 10th century, but in 4th century the Romans come. They fight with the Illyrians for 150 years. You know the Illyrians are warriors to fight with the superpower Roman army for 150 years. You know you're that tough, good warriors. When the Roman 4th century BC pacified the Illyrians, they take them to be their soldiers. Many of them became the Roman generals. We have 8 Roman emperors of Illyrian roots. Some are very famous Roman emperors, but there was not Romans. So, Diocletian's father was Greek, mother was Dalmati tribe, so he was half Greek, half Dalmati, Illyrian, and his father was a slave to the Romans. But the Romans liberated Diocletian's father, he became scribe for the Roman army. Diocletian was born with a Greek name, Diocles. Later he changed his name from Diocles to Diocletian when he became the Roman emperor. He was born in 245 AD. He joined the Roman army when he was only 17 years old. Fast. He became the Roman general when he was only 30. In 278 AD, he became the general. All historians call the time period crisis or anarchy of the 3rd century. Because in 40 years, you have 20 Roman emperors. So if you're a Roman emperor in 4th century, it was not a good job. In 3rd century, sorry, not 4th. In 3rd century, it was a good job to be a Roman emperor. You rule only 1 or 2 years. One of that 20 Roman emperors in 40 years, he ruled only 3 months. 90 days. His Praetorian guards execute him. So it was not a good job. This is the reason why historians was thinking the Roman Empire going to collapse. But it didn't collapse. One of the last of that 20 Roman emperors in 40 years, a Roman emperor called Carus. He split the Roman Empire in 2. In the west and east. He had 2 sons. He didn't want his sons kill each other for the throne, so he split the Roman Empire. He put one son, Carus, in the west, other son, Numerian, to be Roman Emperor east. So we have 2 brothers, split the Roman Empire, west and east. Numerian was ruling from Turkey, eastern part of the Roman Empire. Very close to the Turkish city, modern Turkish city, Izmir. They have some ruins of that city, Nicomedia was called. So, they ruled only 2 years and 2 months. After 2 years and 2 months, somebody assassinated the Roman Emperor Feast. Numerian, one of the 2 brothers, was assassinated, and Diocletian was his general. He killed the assassin because he was a general of the cavalry and the Praetorian guards. He was a chief of his bodyguards. He killed that assassin, and Arminius proclaimed Diocletian to be new Roman Emperor Feast. He was only 40 years old when he became the Roman Emperor. This is the bust that finding today in modern Turkey. It's actually in Turkish Museum. And he was 40. He changed his name from Diocles to Diocletian. Also, he said, all right, armies for me. I'm going to be Roman Emperor of East. But that brother, Carus, of that Roman Emperor, Numerian, who was before Diocletian, he said, who's this guy? I have the claim. That was my brother over there. I'm going to take East. So once again, we have 2 huge Roman armies march for each other for fight. Diocletian with the Eastern Roman army and Carus with the Western Roman army. They meet each other in Moesia. Moesia is today modern Serbia. It's not far from Croatia. There is a river Morava. It was a little bit skirmishes, kind of small battles before main battle, and the main battle never happened. One of the generals of Carus, one of his generals, Western Roman general, Aristobulus, took a sword, decapitated Carus, and sent the head to Diocletian. He said, we also for you. Why he do that? He was not friend of Diocletian. He was a jealous husband. That Western Roman Emperor Carus slept with the general's wife. He couldn't touch him, he was a Roman Emperor, but on the battlefield, he revenged himself. So ladies, you always shake the empires, it's true. At least in history. So, only guy who left was Diocletian. He said, all right, I'm going to take it also west. He sent the message to Roman soldiers and said, yeah, you're going to unite. the most powerful man. He had both armies, and he grabbed the both armies, ran to the borders of the Roman Empire to fight with the Germanic tribes. Germanic tribes tried to invade. We have Quadis and Macromanis, two Germanic tribes. Go over there to the border, there's a Rhine, fight with them, kind of secure the Roman Empire. He was winning all battles, but my friend, sorry. And basically, what happened? Diocletian secured the borders. When you have unstable times, crisis, anarchy of the 3rd century, the inflation, the prices was really like this year's because of the war in Ukraine and everything. You know, the gas, the food prices going up. So he stabilized inflation, secured the Roman border. So he was very loved by the Romans. But he was kind of tired to go from one corner to another corner. It was like 1 month marching with the army. He said, oh my God, I can't do this anymore. I'm gonna split the Roman Empire in two, like these two brothers before me. You have a good friend, also of Illyrian roots, Maximian, General Maximian. He said, General Maximian, you're gonna be a Roman Emperor like me. You take west, I'm gonna take east. So we're gonna split the Roman Empire in two, once again. But also, Diocletian incorporated tetrarchy. Tetra in Latin was number 4. He had 4 Roman emperors at the same time. Never happened in the Roman history. Only when Diocletian was ruling, we have 4 Roman emperors at the same time. So Diocletian married only once. The name of the wife was Prisca, and he had only one child, daughter. He took the deputy, also of Illyrian roots, General Galerius. He said, you're going to be the Roman emperor, you're going to be my deputy. But also he married his daughter to him, so he's a son-in-law. You not go against him. So it was kind of smart. Now they're blood relatives. And Maximin did the same. He have actually stepdaughter. He married a few times. And he married Theodora to the General Constantine Chlorus I. So we have 2 seniors, Diocletian Maximian, and 2 deputies, Galerius and Constantine Chlorus I. He built the statues of the 4 Roman emperors all over the Roman Empire. This statue is now in Venice, in a street, attached in the corner of one church in Venice. The Venetian, in medieval times, when there was not war with Turks, Ottoman Empire, in medieval times, they trade with them. Some Venetian merchants saw that in Turkey, in Istanbul. They said, this is a Roman statue of the 4 Roman emperors, Diocletian, Maximian, Tuscalus. And he buy it and bring it to Venice and attach in some corner of the church on the street. You can walk on the city and see this statue in Venice. That's 4 Roman emperors at the same time. When Diocletian was an older guy, he was about 60 years old. For 2 months, nobody saw Diocletian. But first, I'm going to show you how they split the Roman Empire. Ladies and gentlemen, this is basically almost all Europe. Diocletian had this purple in the corner. So Diocletian had Judea, today modern Israel, Egypt, and Turkey. He ruled eastern part of the Roman Empire. Where's the blue line next to my finger? It's a river Nile. That land was fertile. Egypt was a granary for the Rome. He controlled food basket. They're sending grains in Rome, they're making bread. So he controlled the food supply. This reason he took the eastern. Also in Egypt they have beautiful purple marble, like I showed that statues, come from Egypt, porphyry. Also, Diocletian's son-in-law had this Balkan Peninsula. This light purple was Galerius. You have Greece, Albania, Montenegro, Croatia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Serbia. Balkan Peninsula was the son-in-law of Diocletian. Sorry. And the blue was Diocletian's friend, Maximian. You have Italy, Spain, North Africa. And his son-in-law have yellow. Gallic was the Belgium, France, and Great Britain. So Constantine Chlorus controlled the yellow. Gallic and Great Britain. But when I print this, I saw, oh, this is not true. Upper level, Great Britain. Scotland was never taken by the Romans. So I need to take my pen and put, they're making Hadrian Wall to separate Scots from the Great Britain. Also Ireland, you can see the white island, it's in white next to my finger. That was taken by the Romans. It was too crazy for them. They was attacking the Romans. So, but when Diocletian was 60 years old, For 2 months, nobody saw Diocletian. This is the bust and 3D, how his head looked like when he was older gentleman. Well, when he was 60, he was kind of nice looking man with beard. 2 months, nobody saw Diocletian. The rumors start to come, somebody assassinated Diocletian, hush hush. He was not assassinated, he had a minor stroke. This reason he isolated himself for 2 months, he recovered after 2 months, he's coming back. He said, guys, I'm still alive, nobody assassinated. So let's grab that billboard, you can sit over there on front, and explain you how this palace looked like. So you can sit over here, you're gonna see this billboard. They built this palace in 10 years, from 295 to 305 AD. So he retired when he was 60, after he recovered after that minor stroke. He said, okay, this is a sign of the gods. I'm gonna abdicate, I'm gonna retire myself. So this was a retirement home for just one man. This side was 185 meters, 250 meters, 7.4 acres or 30,000 square meters on the palace. One of the biggest palaces inside the Rome. The south part was just for Diocletian. So from my hand to the sea was quarters of him, personal quarters. You see the sea was coming to these walls in front. We have now this promenade, parking lot. We claimed this in medieval times, 17th, 18th century. This over here, this room was called in Latin triclinium, mean dining area, his restaurant. You can eat in this room. He have a gardens in his part of the palace. No gardens in the rest of the palace. He's a retired man. He have gardens. He grew something. We know what? Cabbages. Because when he abdicated and lived 6 years in the palace, he died when he was 66. Roman senators asked Diocletian, can you come back, be a Roman emperor again? He said, no. If you know how big palace I have here, and what big cabbages grew with my own fingers, you will not ask me to be emperor again. So he said, no. He was smart. He died in the bed. Only a Roman emperor could die of old age. He died when he was 66. Today, that's not a big number. In ancient times, life expectancy was from 45 to 55. People live much shorter than we're living today. So 66 was like today, 90-something years. This was the Jupiter temple over here. Jupiter was the highest god in Roman mythology, like Zeus in Greek mythology. Roman had many gods, they're pagans. Jupiter was the highest, like Zeus in Greek mythology. But in Roman mythology, they have Neptune, god of the sea, Mars, god of war, Venus, goddess of love, Minerva, goddess of wisdom, Mercury, god of trade, Bacchia, god of wine and parties, 13 of them. So I will not mention all of them, but Jupiter was the highest, so he built Jupiter. And he proclaimed himself Juvius, son of the god Jupiter. So this reason, he built the Jupiter temple over here. This octagon over here was mausoleum of Diocletian, his tomb. So he lived 6 years in the palace, he died. Other historians say 311, some historians say 313, but I took 311. And he was buried inside for 300 years. Unfortunately, Diocletian was the last Roman emperor who killed Christians. Other Roman emperors before Diocletian killed Christians, some didn't. Diocletian was the last. He didn't prosecute them all 21 years he was ruling. Only last 2 years of 21. Just 2 years before abdicate, he started to kill Christians. And Christians come in 7th century, remove the bones of Diocletian, converted to big church. This is smallest, oldest Christian cathedral in the world. It's a Roman structure built in 4th century, 305 AD, like this palace. Converted from 4th century in 7th century to be church. And you're going to see the belfry on the top of the walls, built by Croatians in medieval times, in 13th century. It is the second tallest in our country. It is 60 meters. Only in Zagreb, capital Croatia, have 110 meters high belfry. So now we call it Semdomnius Cathedral. Semdomnius was a bishop 5 kilometers from here, in the huge Roman city. So we don't have the bones of the guy who ordered the killing, but we have the victim's bones now inside. He was one of the last martyrs of Christianity. Saint Dominus died in 303 AD, just 2 years before Diocletian abdicated. So we have the bones of that ancient bishop. This area over here was Praetorian Guards. You have personal guards, Praetorians, and so 185 meters to 150 meters, 4 doors. We're gonna go inside from the brass gate. Was a small harbor, you can see, like a escape route. If somebody attacked the palace, we have 16 towers to protect the palace. Well, that's 16, then we have only 3 corners. This corner tower system, this corner tower system, and this corner tower is under these walls. Only the top floor missing. This top arch windows is missing. From my finger down, it's still standing. Also, we have 2 main streets from the brass gate, iron gate, silver gate, and golden gate. This street was called Decumanus Maximus. In Latin, Decus was number 10. So it was a really wide street. 10 Roman soldiers in full gear with spears and shields can march side by side. So 10 Decus. This street from the Golden Gate to the Peristyle Square, only square in the palace, was called Cardo Maximus. Today, doctors for your hearts called cardiologists. Cardo Street, cardiologist. Main street, main gate, Golden Gate. Main street and the heart, middle of the palace, only square in the palace. So doctors have nothing to lose at anyways. Now we're gonna go inside this brass gate, and we have a original Roman cellar. We in Europe have today 7 original Roman cellars, and only 1 in Croatia, this one. So we're gonna go inside. All right, let's go this way. In 1979, split old town is under UNESCO protection. Nobody can touch Roman ruins anymore. Unfortunately, we lose some Roman ruins in 15th, 16th, 17th century. This is one of the 7 original Roman cellars in Europe. Only one in Croatia, this one. Others in different countries, in Italy, in France. This cellar is one of the most preserved Roman cellars. Why? Because some part of the palace was Diocletian quarters. His army lived up. No, he lived up a palace making the cellar. We have 69 chambers, different size, different shape. You can lose 2 hours, at least 1 hour, for sure. 69 chambers, almost like a maze. So we'll skip that, but we're gonna go to this corridor over here. It's free, you need to buy tickets and go ahead. But use this corridor, and this was a substructure structure for upper level. Same chambers in the cellar was on top, because this was mimicking what was on top. Unfortunately, they have only 12%, maybe even less than 20% of the upper level. We have 100% of the cellar. Let's go to this corridor over here. This fresh air circulated inside, because Romans used this cellar like a storage for olive oil, wine, weapons, even slaves. Today we have electricity to light the cell. They didn't have torches. You need oxygen. If the Romans closed the brass and we come inside, we still have oxygen inside. Let's go this way. The first island frontal, even the frontal markers, you see that island? That's a barrage island. Roman used the quarry from the island barrage. Many things are built by the barrage limestone. This is limestone. It's a superb, one of the best limestone in Europe. Many things. You know Opera House in Vienna, Austria? Huge part built because we was once in 19th, 20th century under Habsburg monarchy. Habsburg monarchy ruled Austrian-Hungarian Empire, ruled also Croatia. So that time they built that Vienna Opera House. They used that. Also, the Parliament House in Budapest, in Hungary, is built by this limestone from Island Branch, not just this ancient palace from Roman times. We still use that quarry even today. So it's Roman used, we still use it in Croatia. So I tell you, Diocletian killed Christians for 2 years. When he died, do you know which new Roman emperor came to the power? Constantine the Great. Yeah, I tell you, we have two seniors, Diocletian and Maximian, and two son-in-laws, Galerius, Constantine the First. Constantine the First, deputy of Maximian, friend of Diocletian, was the father of Constantine the Great. So one of the deputies was the father of the Roman emperor who came after. And he allowed Christianity. What he saved Christians. He took the power in the famous battle in Milvian Bridge in Italy. He fought with Maxentius. And he allowed his soldiers to put the cross on the shields. So they fight even better. And he legalized, he became the Roman Emperor in 312. In 313, he had the Edict of Milan, proclamation in city Milan in Italy. Nobody can kill or rob the Christians anymore. Why he do that? Not because just his soldiers. His mother was a Christian. She was a learing from this area over here. I don't sure which tribe. I don't think she was down with the tribe, but a learing. And he legalized Christianity because he saved his mother's life. And Christianity started to blossom in the Roman Empire. And a lot of Romans started to convert. And when Constantine the Great, the guy who made Istanbul, today modern Istanbul, was called Constantinopolis. He named the city because of him. When he became the Roman Emperor, his mother was going to Judea, today modern Israel, to find true cross, to find the grave of Jesus Christ. She made huge Basilica Cathedral. She also find the mansion of Pontius Pilate, Latin Pilatus, the guy who sentenced Jesus Christ to death, Roman governor who sentenced Jesus Christ to death. She find his mansion, dismantled the staircase in his home, ship it in Rome, in Italy. That staircase are still in Italy, in Rome. This is one church in Italy, Rome, called Santa Scala, or Saint Stace Church. This is the stairs. St. Helen, she's a saint in many Christian churches, in Orthodox Christianity, in Catholic, Protestant, because of her, Christianity was legalized, like a faith. She dismantled that and bring it over there. And this was that stairs from the home of Pontius Pilate in Judea, in Israel. Now in church in Rome, Santa Scala. Also, 600 years. Now I will tell you a very nice story. Also because nobody was walking here. Ladies and gentlemen, nobody was walking for 600 years. Nobody was here. Human foot was not here. For 600, from 15th century to 21st century. Why? Ottoman Turks invade Europe. Many cities fell. Makarska fell under Turkish rule. Split never. They took that mountain behind the city Split. We have one fort called Klis Fortress. For 25 years, we defended that fort on top of the mountain. But after 25, Turks took it. And the Turkish power was, soldiers, was on the top of the mountain behind Split. For 111 years. So, Split called Venice. Venice was a superpower in medieval times. Venice have a merchant fleet, but also European fleet. They ruled these coastal cities here. City Split was ruled by Venice from 15th to 14th century, 300 years. So, actually 350 years. And people was afraid to build a medieval house outside the palace walls. This is the reason we, in 15th, 16th, 17th century, lose the upper Roman ruins. People destroyed making medieval houses. You're going to see that tube on this next column. On the middle of that is a tube on the roof, on the ceiling. People built medieval houses and used this cellar like a toilet. This was a sewer. This was a medieval house toilet, that tube. After 50 years, all 69 chambers was filled by poo. Only 20% on top was air. This reason, 600 years, no human foot was here. Nobody could come. It was a sewer. Just after the Second World War, in 1958, the mayor of city Split, Dumancic, he said, let's go down, take the shovels and pickaxes, and take the poo out. The Pope was petrified. It was not smelling. It was hard like concrete. For 2 years, they're cleaning everything out. They opened this in 1960. My grandfather was 47 years old when he first stepped here. My father was 24. They didn't know of existence of this cellar. They know they have something under. They didn't know what they find here was something really special. It was a huge marble eating table. It's called mensa table. Original eating table of the Roman Empire. It was a huge news in Europe in that time. We found original eating table of one Roman emperor in 1960. For centuries it was under the Pope. What they say, the archaeologists, saved by the Pope. Exactly. You know the Americans have the stickers behind the cars. Shit happens. Yeah, shit happened here. And this reason, this cellar, original Roman cellar, one of the most preserved in Europe. Because the Pope. Great size because you can bring your coffee in, honey. You can drink your coffee. I'm going to sit you down over there. Right? It was a bishop from 10th century, Gregory of Nyssa. Look at the face of the bishop. He's an angry bishop. He have a Bible. He threatened someone with his finger. He threatened the Pope in Vatican. He was a Catholic bishop, but he was mad to the Pope. Why? Because in 10th century, all Europe had Latin Mass. Only Croatia had their own language in the church. And when old Pope died, new Pope came to the Vatican, to the power. He said, hey Croatians, you're not so special. You're going to have Latin Mass too. This bishop in the 10th century knows people didn't speak Latin. They're going to come in the church, they're going to chant, but they don't know what they're praying. Only priests and nobles speaking Latin. People in the 10th century barely know how to read and write or say their names. People was mostly farmers in the 10th century. The guy who made the statue was this guy, Ivan Meštrović. He made this in 1928. And Ivan Meštrović didn't know how this bishop looked like, so he put his own face on the statue. It's him. And because nobody knows paintings of that statue, so nobody knows how he looked. We know he was existing, he was writing books and things like that. So what he do? He was marginalized. He get out from Split, he was a bishop in this town. The Pope sent him to some village, he was marginalized, they get the Latin now once again, like all Europe. He made this statue in 1928. You're going to see this photo. This is that the Roman square we was sitting you over there. The Roman, Egyptian, not Roman, Egyptian colors. So it's that interesting. So this is a photo from 1928. They put the statue there. Why we have it here? Because the Second World War. We was afraid we're going to lose the statue. The Italian fascist, the German Nazis going to melt the statue. This is 14 tons of brass. They can make cannon shots, military weapons. So we was afraid we were going to lose it. You see the lines, how we cut the statue. There's a chest, there's a knees, and buried in different parts. So German Nazis didn't know of existence. After the Second World War passed, we assembled in 1954, and we didn't want to return back to the original position because it's a huge statue, small Roman square. It would be not so good, so we put it outside the palace. Ivan Meštrović, this guy, he was one of the best Croatian artists Croatia ever had. Small statue this size was selling in London, I think 14 or 15 years ago, for 150,000 euros. Small. I don't know which auction house, Sotheby's or Christie's. And this is like millions of euros. He never took the money. He donated 400 statues to Croatia. He's a very rich man, rich artist. Also, he donated his two houses, one in Split, one in Zagreb, and now there are galleries of Ivan Meštrović. He have statues he donated in his house, look like villas, all villas from the early 20th century. Ivan Meštrović was born in a village. He was not a rich man's son. He was a villager. He have goats, he have sheep, chickens. Like a little boy, he go to his goats in the field, lay under the tree, take some wood, he take his knife, like a little boy making statues, coming back to that village, and police saw him. He asked him, Ivan Meštrović, you made that? Yes. You need to be an artist, you need to go to Split to high school, art school. He said, no, I will be shepherd all my life. My family is not rich. I can't send you to Split. And the priest said, don't worry, I will send you. And the priest sent him first to Split. At that time he was under Habsburg monarchy. He sent him to Vienna to university. He became very famous artist when he was still alive. Because of the Second World War, he left Croatia to go first to Switzerland, because Switzerland was a neutral country. Then from Switzerland to the United States. He was a professor of art in USA in Syracuse University, New York State. Later, American President Eisenhower, I called him to Oval Office, give him American citizenship personally. So became American, of Croatian origin. And later he go from Syracuse University to the state Indiana, city South Bend. He was a professor of art in Notre Dame University, famous Christian university in USA. He died in USA. He was 78 years old, 1960s, and his last wish was his bones returned to Croatia. He's buried in that small village. Small village, small graveyard, huge mausoleum. And all the statues in mausoleum here in USA, shipping from USA to his village. Also, he did something in Chicago. I took him before the Second World War, in the 1920s. American mayor of Chicago called Ivan Meštrović. He said, Ivan, you're such a great artist. Can you make two statues for us? Sure. We're going to pay you lots of money. No problem. What do you want? Can you make Indian on a horse with a bow and arrow? I can make Indian. No problem. And the second statue like a cowboy. Buffalo Bill character. Cowboy with a cowboy hat on a horse with a pistol. No problem. I can make Indian a cowboy. He never make a cowboy. He make two Indians. This is the bowman. This is the spearman. Put in wooden crates. Ship in Chicago. When they open wooden crates, they say, wait a second. That's one cowboy. Let's call him back. So, Ivan Meštrović, you make mistake. You make two Indians. We ask one Indian, one cowboy. He say, yeah, I know. But I like Indians better. When I was a boy in that village, my parents was not rich. They couldn't buy me holster, kid pistol, or cowboy hat. There's lots of siblings of us. It was a kind of expensive thing. They have goats, they have chickens, there was that. Nothing else. So I always took chicken feathers, took in my hair. I make my own bow and arrows. I like it to go on with great Indians. If you don't like the statues, ship it back to me. Turn your money. I said, no, we're going to put on Chicago. So if you go to Chicago, on Grand Park, in front of Congress Hotel, Roosevelt Hotel, you see these two Native Americans still standing from 1928. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to close our tour here. It was an hour and a half. Now you have lots of free time. If you want to explore, just linger to the city. And always, if you go down, you come to the promenade. When you come to promenade, turn right. And you will come to the Ambassador Hotel. So, before 3, 2:50, 10 minutes to 3, you will be over there, the event will come. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. Thank you.
tour in Split is gedaan. Het was heel interessant, maar veel te warm. Dus ik heb verder niets gefilmd. Sorry, wij.